Hello. Audio testing. Is audio working? Before we get started, because we seem to have a lot of audio issues as of late. Let's see. Yes, audio is good. Okay, so let's just quickly say hello. Crazy Karen. No, hello, Karen. Hello. Jill. Good to see you, Jill. Good to see you. Yonks. Oh dear. Princess, good to see you. I know Princess has been busy over the last few days and she messaged me earlier. She's got some new cases. I'll look forward to looking at them in a bit. Susie, hello. I had well, I delayed half an hour, didn't I? I delayed. So yeah, today we've got a PCA to read. Now this PCA is already out there, but I want to read it because well, it's something that me and Aurora followed in a past life. Update: autopsy completed in the death of Robert Allen Bragman. Now, if you remember, we did a quick cover on this. We said we'd go deeper into it, but unfortunately, he was found deceased. We brought you that update. But this is the autopsy update. An autopsy was completed today, November 25th, 2025, on the body of Robert Allen Bragman, 43 years old, of Salem. According to the coroner's preliminary findings, Mr. Bragman's death was likely due to a cardiac event, possibly compounded by hypothermia. No foul play is suspected. The toxicology results remain pending. An investigation continues under the direction of the Indiana State Police, those pesky ISP. Yeah, how dare they arrest criminals. And Robert Bragman was initially reported missing on Monday, November 17th. So, see, fortunately, it wasn't a long drawn, dragged out one. So the family can now have their closure. Tragically, his body was discovered near a walking trail of West Salem on Saturday, November 22nd, by locally organised search team. And this is the man himself. So, if there is any update regarding which I don't think there will be, regarding the status, whether it's something else, then we will get into that. But I strongly believe that this case is as far as closed. So thank you to the subscriber who brought that to me. Sorry about the end result. Holly, Gibbo, potato. Okay. So yeah, we've got a PCA to go over. This is for the case of Michael Monkey Vaughan. Now, you might have heard of this case, which is great. You might also be aware of the suspects. Sarah Wanderer was having a bit of a meltdown all over social media, TikTok, and all these things about God and how God had forgiven her, but she wouldn't say what for. Well, now we know what for. Yeah, we now know that her husband, Stacey Wanderer. Now, this interview and search is on YouTube. I'm not going to play it because it's lengthy, but you can find it. It's on news stations in Idaho, and I believe Chris McDonough. I don't know if you know him, but he also he was actually part potato, boil them, mash them, put them in a stew. Yeah, he was also part of this interview / search. He helped talk to the husband, Stacey. Now, I have an update on Stacey. He's now pleaded not guilty, waived his rights to extradition, and things like that. It's a bit of a strange one with him. He made all sorts of accusations in this interview, but claimed his innocence. But he's now listed on this PCA. Now, let me just share this tab for you. As you can see, it's an official document. Now, this document is all over YouTube, but Aurora had a look into it, and she struggled to find a complete PCA. But a little dig on the internet, and I found it. But yeah, that's not anything against Aurora's doing. Now, we was going to do this yesterday, but I so I was incapacitated. I went to the hospital. I ruptured my hernia, and I had been given some medication. So I was unable to go live. So starting this, Detective Juanita Kellier, that's an Irish name, the undersigned being firstly duly sworn on oath, disposes and says, I am a peace officer employed by the Fruitland Police Department. The defendant is alleged to have committed the following crimes between the dates of approximately July 27th, 2021 through 2025. First degree murder, felony, kidnapping, second degree felony, destruction and concealment of evidence, felony. Now, I will apologise to you guys for the lack of talent today because I'm reading documents, but there you have it. The crimes were not committed in my presence. I believe that there is probable cause to believe that the defendant committed such crimes because of the following facts. Note, you must stay. Okay, we don't need to read that. On July 27th, 2021, neighbours reported seeing 5-year-old, and then Michael's name is redacted because he's a minor, but we all know who Michael Vaughan is. Between approximately 8:15 and 6:15 and 6:30, in the area of Michael's home, nearby residence, and South Arizona, in Fruitland, Payette County, Indiana, Michael knocked on some doors of his neighbours and attempted to play with neighbours in their yard. Michael was told to return home by all of the neighbours he contacted. At approximately 1845 to 1850, Tyler Vaughan noticed that 5-year-old Michael Vaughan was missing from their home, located, and then the address, in Fruitland, Payette County, Indiana. Tyler began searching his home and property for Michael. Tyler called 911 to report his son missing at approximately 1921 hours. In Fruitland Police Department responded to the area. Fruitland Police Department and the Federal Bureau of Investigations, FBI, pesky FBI, remember, along with other local agencies and volunteers, searched for Michael over several weeks and now years. Through interviews, searches, and other corroborating evidence of all Michael's family and household members have been determined to not have any knowledge of Michael's current location, nor were they involved in Michael's disappearance. All of Michael's neighbors on SW 9th and Arizona have also been thoroughly investigated, searched, and interviewed, and have been determined by law enforcement to not have any knowledge of or involvement in Michael's disappearance. The surrounding area was searched extensively and Michael has never been found. Idaho, yes, sorry. Apologies for that, Aurora. Yeah, Michael Monkey Vaughan. It's because I just I just did that from Indiana, didn't I? Sorry, so I apologise for that. It's jumping. Let's see what happens if I just press that. There we go. Live sent K9 teams search the surrounding neighbourhoods August 2nd and 3rd, 2021, using a pair of Michael's shoes for Michael's scent. Out of approximately 300 homes. Okay, Doodle. K9 handlers reported the dogs only showed interest in one house located at, then it's redacted, in Fruitland. This is the home of Stacey and Sarah Wanderer. A canine handler also reported that a canine banshee showed interest in the area of the corner of Meadowlark in Redwing Street. The canine showed interest at the intersection and headed straight to the fence in front door of the Wanderer's residence. I would have hooked you up on, mate. Oh, okay. Doodle must be robotic still. uh, so on August 2nd, Canine Banshee tracked the scent down to a tree over the edge of the bluff off of SW8th and Three Rivers Way. Canine Banshee was determined to track the scent into the thorny bushes under the tree, despite the thorns, and a discarded child's stroller was located deep in those thorny bushes. On August 5th, 2021, a pink Big Flyer tricycle was located behind the Bluffs sign at Three Rivers Way, SW8th Street. During the search of the same area the day prior, the tricycle was not there. Jim Smith, who lives in the Three Rivers subdivision, later reported he had found the tricycle over the bluff under the tree next to the child's stroller. Jim said he took it home to use one of the wheels for another project, but then discarded it after not removing the wheel as planned. Jim said he left it behind the bluff sign for neighborhood kids to use. Okay. Kim Elko would later report to law enforcement that she had seen the tricycle in the Wanderer's garage during a yard sale in the spring of 2021. Elko was able to describe the layout of the Wanderer's garage and where she saw the tricycle on a stack of boxes. The described stack of boxes was still there during the later search warrant of the Wanderer residence and garage. Dorothy Starkey, who was present at redacted in the Fruitland, reported on July 29th, 2021, that she saw Michael riding a big wheel tricycle at the corner of Redwing Street and Meadowlark Avenue on July 27th, as she was either entering or leaving the neighborhood. Dorothy seen on surveillance videos coming into the neighborhood. Dorothy is seen on surveillance videos coming into the neighborhood westbound at 1825 and left the neighborhood eastbound at 1925. Other than Dorothy's report, there are no other reports of Michael being seen anywhere other than SW 9th Street and his next door neighbor's house on Arizona, the date of his disappearance. Video surveillance was gathered but from security cameras on the neighborhood Michael disappeared from, as well as the neighboring areas. Michael is never seen on any surveillance footage that was obtained. Stacey Wanderer is captured on surveillance footage driving a white Lexus and pulling into the parking area of the splash pad in the neighbourhood off SW8th Street at 15:25 on July 27, 2021. Stacey is seen exiting the driver's door, walking around the passenger's side of the car, and appears to be testing the exterior door handles to see if it's locked. Stacey then walked back around the driver's side of the vehicle where he got into the driver's seat and exited the area onto SW8th Street at 15:24, 1 minute after arriving. The video surveillance shows an adult walking in the area of Three Rivers Way. Now, this photo, Michael's, how old was he, Aurora? This photo was spread around and people said that it was Dad, and it wasn't. It actually turned out to be, as you're about to find out. In the area of the neighbourhood splash pad at 18:18 hours. The last image of the male is captured at 18:28 hours as he walked through the wooded area to the west bank, back towards the area which the Wanderers lived. Brandon Shirtliff was identified in 2022 as being this person and told detectives during an interview that the surveillance video captured him as he was walking and searching for a missing child on the date that Michael disappeared. This video captured Brandon walking prior to Michael being reported missing. Brandon reported he was living at the Wanderers on that date. So he was looking for Michael before Michael was reported missing. On August 1st, 2021, Fruitland police contacted the residents, and then it's redacted. Fruitland, on their initial search of the residents, they located Adrian Lucene hiding in a closet. Residents of the home on that date and July 27th, 2021, were identified as married couple Stacey and Sarah Wanderer, and their sublets Brandon Shirtliff and Adrian Lucene. All four were interviewed on August 1st. Yeah, consider becoming a member. Yeah, it supports the channel and helps pay for cool things like emojis. Let me just get some emojis up for you. There are the emojis. I think I got them all. You can also support the channel privately if you would like. It's not an essential, but it is appreciated. Here is the hit the like and share. Okay, so back to the PCA. Poor baby, my God, this child went through so much. That is true, Doodlebug, and let me just put the oh, wrong one. Okay. Yeah. Let's put that up. Save. So, trigger warning for those with sensitive ears. Welcome, Frank Meister. I did clock you, but I've got this document up, so it's hard to see the chat. All four were interviewed on August 1st, 2021. Adrian was vague in his statement and wouldn't commit to a solid statement. He also refused to provide his social security number for identification confirmation. He provided Stacey's phone number as his own and concealed his real phone from law enforcement. On August 21st, 2021, Sarah reported that on July 27th, 2021, she and Stacey slept until noon. Sarah said they left their residence around 17 hours to tow a vehicle in Kuna. Sarah and Stacey denied they were home at around 18:30 hours on July 2021. Cell phone tower data and surveillance footage shows Sarah, Stacey, Adrian, and Brandon were in the area of the neighbourhood at the time of Michael's disappearance. Sarah, Adrian, and Brandon returned to Fruitland, verified by surveillance, in Sarah's blue Toyota Corolla at 17:08 hours, only to leave again at 17:12. The Toyota then came back into the neighbourhood again at 17:56 hours. Surveillance footage shows Sarah driving a maroon GMC pickup on July 27th, 2021, as she drove out of the neighbourhood 19:08 hours. Stacey has been identified as the front passenger and Brandon was the driver's side rear passenger. Sarah, Stacey, and Brandon's phone data showed they were co-located as they left the neighbourhood at 19:08 hours and drove to Kuna, Idaho. Adrian's phone did not provide any location data during the event of July 27th, 2021. However, Adrian took a selfie in the guest bathroom of the Wanderers residence at 19:26 hours. Wanderers' maroon GMC pickup truck is captured on surveillance footage returning to their Fruitland neighbourhood at 23:22 hours on July 27th, 2021. Pulling and towing a silver Mercedes. Following Michael's disappearance, Sarah had a distinct change in behavior. Following Michael's disappearance, Sarah began to stand along a highway near Love's gas station in Ontario, Oregon, with signs stating "Repent of your sins" and that the end of time was near. Sarah's social media post on TikTok and Facebook also changed drastically to religion and asking for forgiveness for her sins. Prior to Michael's abduction, Sarah had posted only approximately 11 videos on September 15th, 2021. Through December 2021, in TikTok videos Sarah posted, Sarah made testimony statements regarding her involvement in criminal behaviors and stated that she had broken all 10 commandments. It should be noted that "thou shalt not kill" is one of the 10 commandments. Sarah also alleged in her videos it did not matter what sins she had committed because God has forgiven her for all of them. Michael's missing person flyer can be seen on her refrigerator in the background of some of her videos. Where does that sound familiar, ladies and gentlemen? Sarah was interviewed again by law enforcement on November 15th, 2021. Stacey was also interviewed after being confronted with a photo of her leaving the neighbourhood on July 27th, 2021, giving the GMC pickup 19:08 hours. Sarah changed her story and said she was driving the GMC to get Brandon's Mercedes-Benz from Kuna on tow back to Fruitland. Sarah said the trip to Kuna to get the car had not been previously planned and that it was Stacey who wanted to go and get that car at the time and date. Sarah said she stopped at SW 8th and South Arizona on the way out of the neighborhood to input the address into GPS. Sarah said she drove to 2518 North Snowbell in Cuna, which is Brandon's mother's home. It is worth noting Brandon was in the truck with them when they entered the GPS coordinates to go to Brandon's mother's house, and that Sarah's and Brandon's cell phone data showed them at the residence earlier that day. Sarah and Brandon's mother, Tina, Sarah said Brandon's mother, Tina, I can't even pronounce that, was out of town. Sarah said Tina did not allow Brandon to have other people in their home. She said when she was not there, Sarah and Stacy parked down the road and Brandon used a back gate and the south side to enter Tina's residence so that her doorbell camera did not capture him. Sarah reported that while towing the car back to Fruitland, the tow strap broke. Yeah, evil. Yes, it's evil. Hi, Jill. Uh, so Sarah and Stacey Wonder sold their phones, lost or sold their vehicles, and got rid of their furniture shortly after Michael went missing. Sarah was asked about changing her phones following Michael's abduction. Sarah provided two reasons. Sarah said they sold their phones because she and Stacey were splitting up, and Sarah said they sold their phones because a demon told her to. Sarah was still paying on the phones that she sold. Sarah was asked about her Facebook posts and provided the following response. I literally had like a demon tell me that I need to leave my husband. I literally deleted all of my pictures. I have no idea what my passwords are. We had a fight, and my husband and I had to sell our phones. We had to get new phones. I can't access any of my stuff. So I do have Facebook, just don't have access to it right now. When asked about vehicles, Sarah and Stacey have Sarah said the GMC pickup was repossessed. Sarah said she told Stacey when they heard the repo guys were coming to take the truck, we are going to be the nicest repo they ever had today. Law enforcement was later told that the truck appeared to have been thoroughly cleaned prior to the repo. Following an interview on November 15th, Brandon reported Sarah and Stacey contacted him and told him they were re-interviewed about Michael's abduction. Brandon said Stacey suggested Brandon come over to their place and create an alibi or write a letter on behalf of Sarah and Stacey saying that they are not involved in Michael's abduction. Tina, Brandon Shirtliff's mom, was interviewed by law enforcement. Tina reported that Brandon's behaviour changed after he lived with the Wanderers. Tina explained that Brandon became more depressed and withdrawn, spending more time playing video games and smoking marijuana. Tina would not tell law enforcement where Brandon was or what his phone number was at the time. Kay Ramsey, Sarah's mother, was interviewed and shown a picture of the tricycle described above. Kay claimed she found the tricycle in some bushes prior to Michael's abduction. The bushes that Kay described are near where Mr. Smith found the tricycle just after Michael's abduction. Kay said that would be the reason her DNA would be on the tricycle. Kay said that after all the effort, she left it at the intersection of Three Rivers Way at SW 8th Street. Kay was 73 years old in July of 2021, and the bushes were very difficult to get to. Kay Ramsey also confirmed to law enforcement that Sarah and Stacey's dog had dug holes in the backyard of the Red Wing residence. Kay reported the dog had dug up what she later determined to be the ear of a green stuffed animal. Kay said that she had thrown away the stuffed ear. Kay Ramsey is alleged to have withheld information and evidence in other criminal investigations involving Sarah in 2022. Then Kay initially concealed a firearm using an aggravated assault, which Sarah later was later convicted, and then it's got I'm guessing the case number. When law enforcement met with Sarah on October 12th, 2022, Sarah said God told her he was going to help her find the boy. During the interview, at first mention of Michael, Sarah became emotional and broke down crying in front of detective. She wrote a testimony and said if law enforcement ready, they would locate Michael. Sarah suggested that God had forgiven Hitler for his sins, that God had redeemed Sarah for her sins. Christy Kutch told detectives prior to Sarah's arrest on April 22, she made a statement about Stacey being involved in the abduction of a 5-year-old boy. Christy said she made personal notes of their conversation in June of 22. There was a recorded jail phone call between Sarah and Christy where Sarah advised Stacey had been arrested. Christy asked if he had been charged with the kidnapping of a 5-year-old. Sarah recanted her prior statements, claiming that Christy misunderstood her prior comments. Also mentioned how Sarah's dog was digging large holes in the backyard. On November 5th, 2022, at 12:55 a.m. hours, Stacey contacted Fruitland Police and requested an interview in Washington County Jail. Stacey provided vague details about events surrounding Michael's abduction. Stacey said Sarah's religious beliefs and behaviors changes started with a couple of days after Michael's abduction. After Stacey's arrest for an unrelated incident, Stacey spoke of changing phones or SIM cards to prevent law enforcement to follow or profile him. On November 10th, 2022, Stacey again asked to speak to Fruitland police detectives. Stacey wanted a deal, the same offer that was given to Sarah in the Michael Vaughan case. Stacey admitted Michael had been in his house the night of Michael's abduction. Stacey admitted the tricycle had been in his garage where Kim Elko had previously described seeing it. Stacey then said that when he first saw Michael, Sarah was carrying Michael into their house. Stacey said Michael was put in a duffel bag to transport him out of their house and Brandon's house in Coon. Stacey said Sarah was frantic trying to figure out what to do, and Brandon interjected, "I have a duffel bag." Stacey described Michael as crying, and to prevent him from moving and making noise, Stacey described how Sarah taped Michael using duct tape. When asked who put Michael in the bag, Stacey said Brandon grabbed the bag and gave it to Sarah. Sarah picked up Michael as Adrian helped hold the sides of the bag. As they shoved Michael into the duffel bag, Stacey described Michael as wiggling, trying to get away. Stacey said he could see Michael in the bag with his knees bent up in the fetal position. While describing and demonstrating how Michael was taped and stuffed into the duffel bag in his living room, Stacey had a physical reaction and began violently vomiting. When asked if he was vomiting because the chewing tobacco he was using, he indicated that he was throwing up because of the stress of talking about Michael. Yeah, this is very triggering, but these are the details, I'm afraid. Stacey provided 2 reasons they stopped in the GMC at the corner of SW and 8th and South Arizona in Fruitland. One, for Stacey to put a steering fluid into the vehicle, and 2, so Brandon could check to see if Michael was still alive, because Michael was bound and duct taped and stuffed into a duffel bag. In the bed of the truck, Stacey said he was able to hear Michael making noises like a dull scream. Stacey said they were worried about being seen because they saw a car parked off South Arizona. Stacey said they drove straight to Brandon's mother's house in Kuna, Idaho, where Brandon grabbed both bags, the duffel containing Michael and a backpack, and went into the house by himself. Stacey said that once they arrived in Kuna, Michael was not making any more noises, and none of them had checked on Michael to verify he was still alive. Stacey said that Brandon told him he left Michael in the bag and put him in the spare room inside his mother's house. They then towed Brandon's car back to Fruitland. Stacey said that Sarah, Brandon, and Adrian went to Kuna the next day to get Michael. The 3 of them brought Michael's body back into the house in Fruitland. He stated he was inside, Brandon was on guard, and Sarah and Adrian dug a hole together. Okay. Yeah, it's there's not much left now, but it is pretty graphic, and yeah. So we're just going to take a little quick break. As you can see, Ruckus has just entered the chat. Take a quick break because it's a lot to read. It's very small print. It's not like a normal PCA at all. It's 8 pages, but it's very small print, and I haven't got it maximized, as you can imagine. Yeah, hey Ruckard. Hey Ruckard. I can't believe they brought him back to the neighbourhood while all the searching was going on. Crazy. Well, they're not exactly the brightest of people, as you are aware, Aurora. Yeah. A little hello for Ruckus there. Get this back up. So yeah, what we know so far is probably the closest thing to the truth, with Stacey redacting what he had done, and yeah, Aurora right on top of searches. Hi, Karen. Yeah. Oh. Oh dear. So, oh, I think we should get back into it. It's a bit of a read. Oh, give me neck a little creak. Pull it back up for you. So Stacey reported he did not previously report this information because he thought he would still get into trouble and because he was fearful Sarah hurting him. In an interview, Stacey stated that Michael had a stuffed animal, some sort of stuffed animal. I want to say like a dinosaur or monkey, and what I saw was a monkey, was a green and looking like a green monkey. In one interview, Stacey advised the lime green monkey was a dog toy and that he and Sarah gave Michael it to keep him quiet while he was sitting on the couch in their living room. Additionally, Stacey stated that the idea to take a child to sell for money was Adrian's and they would get $10,000 cut. Stacey was asked if Sarah provided any direction throughout any part of this, and Stacey said that Sarah asked him and Brandon to follow her lead, which was to take the kid. Stacey recalled that most of the conversation at that point was Sarah trying to figure out what they were going to do. Sarah asked Brandon where she could put the body, and Brandon was like, "Well, you guys can take him over to my house, and we'll deal with it, and we'll buy us some time." Following his interview with law enforcement, Stacey called his mother, Tamara Johnson, from the Washington County Jail on a video visit. Tamara asked Stacey if Michael was alive. Stacey shook his head and said, "No. Sarah accidentally killed him." Tamara asked how. Stacey said suffocation and went on to say they buried him in a duffel bag. After his interview and phone call to his mother, Stacey wrote an apology letter to Michael's parents and then attempted to hang himself in his jail cell. But he was he was rescued by Washington County Jail staff. It should be noted that during some part of Stacey's incarceration in the Washington County Jail, prior to his confession and directions to where to find Michael's body, Sarah was out of custody, living back at the house in Red Wing Street, as evidenced by her being there when law enforcement arrived to execute the search warrant. Sarah could have had time and ability to move any evidence from the property without Stacey's knowledge. Sounds like there's a vehicle outside. Um, so June of 2022, Sarah called Kay Ramsey from jail and spoke about spouses being able to testify against each other. In a recorded phone call from the Washington County Jail to Sarah, Stacey expressed concern that Sarah was going to turn on Stacey. Sarah confirmed that Stacey was referring to Michael Vaughan. Sarah told Stacey that she had already told her attorney that she wasn't going to turn on Stacey and that she wasn't going to testify against Stacey. Stacey then reassured Sarah that he would never testify against her. As the search warrant was executed and then the address is redacted, on November 12th, 2022, Stacey described the exact location as to where to find Michael buried in the backyard of the residence. He instructed detectives through video chat. That was one detective, and I believe the guy, I forget his name, Chris McDonough. Sarah Wanderer, who was located in the residence at the time, was detained as officers read her search warrant. Sarah made several strange statements. "Wow, that is a lot of. I definitely did not kill that boy. The Most High God already told me who it is, who did it. So, oh wow, wow. The Most High God just told me that Stacey was the one who killed him, and he buried him in the yard of Carson's house." She also said the Most High God told her Stacey was the one that killed him and buried him. "The Most High God just told me Stacey was the one who did it. He wants me to make sure you understand I had nothing to do with it. He said that Stacey buried him in the backyard by the shed. It wasn't actually Stacey who harmed the boy." As officers stated, the search of the residence, Sarah asked several times if the officers had found him yet. Idaho State Police and Ada County Sheriff's Office assisted with the execution of a search warrant at the Wanderer residence, along with 5 separate certified cadaver canines. Prior to officers digging in the backyard of the Wanderer residence, cadaver canines were deployed and alerted in the backyard of, and then redacted. A total of 5 certified cadaver dog canines were deployed, and all 5 alerted inside the Wanderer backyard in the approximate area where Stacey claimed he witnessed Sarah and Adrian bury Michael. Neither Michael nor any human remains were located during the execution of this search warrant. Prior to excavating the backyard, law enforcement noted that there were several areas in the yard that appeared to have been filled with dirt and resodded. Kay and Ed Ramsey reported they had filled in areas of the yard where Sarah and Stacey's dog had dug holes. At various interviews after the disappearance of Michael Vaughan, Stacey asked what happened to his and Sarah's cell phones from July. Stacey said Sarah wanted to detract attentions, so we are not on the radar. Where was I? And that was the reason they sold the phones. When asked if there was evidence of the crime, these phones, Stacey said there were text messages. Investigation revealed that the Wanderers changed their phones approximately 3 times in a 5-month period. Stacey described purchasing SIM cards to put in his cell phone to evade law enforcement. The GMC pickup was subsequently repossessed for non-payment. Stacey then called Kim's cars wanting the truck back or to borrow it. He also told them to hurry up and sell it. Stacey further advised that they sold the Lexus they had at the time of Michael Vaughan's abduction. Within a few weeks, Michael's disappearance, the Wanderers' iCloud data revealed that Stacey and Sarah searched for rental houses in other states, financial assistance in different areas. Additionally, a photo of items boxed up were taken on July 30th, 2021, as if they were preparing to move. In summarization, Stacey confessed that 4 members of the household, Stacey Wanderer, Sarah Wanderer, Brandon Shirtliff, and Adrian Lucene, were all involved in the abduction and killing of Michael. Their neighbour, Dorothy Starkey, saw Michael riding a tricycle near the Wanderer home at the time of Michael went missing. That same tricycle was seen in the Wanderer garage prior to the abduction. That tricycle was discarded outside the neighbourhood of a bluff after Michael went missing. Kay Ramsey, Sarah Wanderer's mother, claimed to have found it, moved it to the entrance of the neighbourhood, which is refuted by the fact that another neighbour, unrelated to the case, claims to have found it and placed it there. Kay's story also does not account for the fact that the tricycle was in the house before being discarded and before Michael went missing. Live scent track dogs were deployed, and only the house they showed interest in was the Wanderer house. The same dog showed interest in the area where Michael went missing from and the area where the tricycle was discarded. Based on the foregoing, your affiant is requesting that Stacey Wanderer be charged with kidnapping and murder in the first degree, as well as the concealment of evidence. And there is a second copy of this, but it's exactly the same with Sarah Wanderers, and I'm guessing the other 2 are on there as well. Oh, that was a lot. That was a lot. It's a lot to take in. Yeah. Oh dear. So. Okay. Yeah, that was a lot to take in. I don't know if you guys want to discuss that or if you guys want to leave it there. Let me drop the link if anybody wants to come on then and discuss it. they're more than welcome to. You don't have to be on camera. That's my job. And oh, yeah. Oh. So if anybody wants to come up and have a little chit chat about it, you're more than welcome. Man, that was a lot. It was 8 pages, small print, and oh, dear Lord, yeah. Well, we shouldn't bring him into this because he's on Sarah's background, Sarah's backing. So Michael's mum's channel. She's got shorts of Michael, post updates. She has been through hell and back, ladies and gentlemen. She needed to have a transplant due to ill health, and she's been struggling. I don't know where her recovery is at the moment, but yeah, she has been through hell and back. I hope one of them will finally tell where Michael is. Now, as far as I'm aware, from reading, it's the is it Adrian, the one of the two others has been hard to locate. I think they've got him now, but he's the one who was meant to be last with the remains. He panicked and he did what he did, but again, that's not confirmed. Unfortunately, you're messing with people that think it's funny. To use God, and that they're clearly not all there in some aspects and things like that. So yeah, I take it nobody wants to come up and discuss it. Here is the PayPal and buy me a coffee. It's appreciated, but not necessary. And hit the like, share, and subscribe. Now, yeah, we were meant to do this yesterday, but we didn't. Doodlebug did do a live with a family member earlier. It was a great interview. Nearly as good as one of mine. Nearly. But yeah, I recommend you go and check that out. It was a really good interview, actually. Yeah, brilliant interview, actually. Maybe we can get Doodlebug on to talk about that case rather than put Mom through it again, and I can get little clips from the interview or something. And that's okay. But like, you could have asked questions. We could have done questions. But it looks like everybody is probably bored with everything now. So what I'm going to say is thank you for coming. Share, like, subscribe. I will be in voices after this for those of you in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, message me. I'll happily give you a link. You have my email address. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen for you, just in case you don't have it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there we go. So if you want to join the Discord, email me. If you've got me on another form of way of contacting me, feel free. You know, I don't bite. Sometimes I do. Yeah, we thanks Gibbo and chat peeps. Thanks Gibbo. Yeah, as you know, there's a bit of drama going on behind the scenes. We will just ignore it. They've walked themselves into the drama community. Now they can deal with it. I warned them. They didn't listen. So that's on them. That's on them. They should have been warned by other people as well. But, they want to play the game. They can do that. Tomorrow, we will have another case. We will go through another case. Princess has got some new cases she was telling me about. I will get the flyers off her. If there's information online, we will either do one or the other, or we can do both of them. Depending on how it is, I'll get in contact with Princess after this live. I've been with family today, so I've been a little bit busy, a little bit distracted. But yeah, that is the case of Monkey Vaughan. Unfortunately, it's not a positive outcome, but fortunately, there is finally answers coming. 2021. Yeah, we are just weeks away from 2026. Yeah, so let that sink in, drink it in. Consider becoming a member. Join here and get access to members only content. Yeah, we got the emojis. Everybody knows about the emojis. Let's just drop them in the chat. Yeah, we will be looking at changing the emojis to more channel related ones because we've moved on from all that stuff for a long time now. Some of them will stay, but things like Aurora, we don't need. Why would anybody want Aurora as an emoji? I'm joking. Okay, guys, it's been a pleasure. I will be in voices, like I said. Those of you that normally come into voices and that, I'll see you in there if you come in. Aurora, come and play with my hole with me. I'll see you guys later. Cool.